Hi, good morning, and thank you for joining us for our Sunday service this morning and, and our Halloween party. And thank you for those who are joining us for the first time. Welcome to West Los Angeles Buddhist Temple. My name is Galen Kobayashi, and I will be the chair today. And I want to thank everyone also for last week, for those who attended our Southern District Conference in San Diego and attended service at San Diego and Vista last week. I hope everyone had a good time. We'll begin today's service with the ringing of the concho, followed by the chanting of Jusei-ge. And that Jusei-ge can be found on page 93 in the purple book in front of you or on the screen.
Namandaps, namandap, namandaps, namandap, namandaps, namandap, namandaps, namandap, namandaps, namandap, namandaps, namandaps.
We will now have the reading of Three Treasures. You please follow along and recite. The words will be on the screen in front of you.
Invite you all to please put your hands together as we recite the Three Treasures. Hard is it to receive a human form. Now we have received it. Difficult is it to hear the Buddha Dharma. Now we hear it. If we do not receive awakening in this life, in what life shall we do so? Let us reverently take refuge together in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in the Buddha. Together with all beings, may we attain the great way of enlightenment, awakening to the supreme intent of the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. Together with all beings, may we enter the storehouse of Dharma, acquiring wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in the Sangha. Together with all beings, may we become united at the great assembly, being free of all bondage. Hard is it to encounter the supreme, profound, and wondrous Dharma, even in 100,000 million kalpa. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true intent of the Tathagata. Sankyemon. Ninjin ukegatashi imasure ni uku. Buppo kikigatashi imasure ni kiku. Konomi konjo ni mukatte dosezun ba, sarani izure no shou ni mukatte ka konomi o dosen. Daishu moro tomo ni shishi ni sanbo ni kieshi tate matsuru beshi. Mizu kara butsu ni kieshi tate matsuru. Masa ni negawaku wa shujo to tomo ni daido o taige shite mujoi o okosan. Mizu kara ho ni kieshi tate matsuru. Masa ni negawaku wa shujo to tomo ni fukaku kyozo ni irite chie umi no gotoku naran. Mizu kara so ni kieshi tate matsuru. Masa ni negawaku wa shujo to tomo ni daishu o tori shite issai mugen naran. Mujo jinjin mimyo no ho wa 100,000万語にもあようことかたし、我今検問し従事することへたり、願わくは如来の真実義を下し立てまつらん。 Namo Amida Butsu. Namandap, 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 Namandap. Namandap, Namandap.
We will now have a Dharma message from Reverend Koe Umezu.
Please join me with hands together as I read a passage written by Venerable Shinran. When a person turns and takes refuge in the great treasure ocean of virtues, without fail, they join the great assembly. Namandap, 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 namandap. Well, good morning, everyone. Would like to welcome all of you here this morning. It's great to see so many faces here in the Hondo and everybody on Zoom. Thank you very much for joining us today. I see some of you in costumes, so I hope you're excited to participate in our first Halloween party since before COVID that we will have after service today. And even if you didn't know about it, please feel free to stay and join us today. There will be games and contests that the kids will be participating in together. I'm not sure if adults are invited to join those games, but regardless, I look forward to all of us joining together in the social hall after service today. This passage that I've just read was written by Venerable Shinran in his poem Shoshinge. In this passage, he is clarifying that when someone takes refuge in the Buddha Dharma, they are joining in with all of the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and all other people who are also taking refuge in the Buddha Dharma, wishing for all beings, all people, to be able to transcend this world of suffering and attain nirvana in the Pure Land. What does it look like for us to join with others in taking refuge in the Buddha Dharma and wishing for all of us to overcome suffering and attain joy? And so to explain one way that we can appreciate this passage, today I would like to talk about the importance of our ritual practice of chanting. So I heard everybody chanting very loudly and clearly. I was very excited while I was sitting up here to hear this echo and army behind me. But did you know that one of the unique features of our tradition of Jodo Shinshu is that everyone chants together? This is not done traditionally in all other traditions of Buddhism, and this is one of the unique features of our tradition. The minister and the Sangha members, lay and clergy, all chant together in unison. This is because we understand that all of us are receiving the Buddha Dharma equally. There is no difference between the Buddha Dharma that you receive, and there is no difference from the Buddha Dharma that I receive. So what is this Buddha Dharma that we are all receiving equally? It is Buddha's deep aspiration and resolution for all beings. That includes each and every one of us here. The resolution for all of us to encounter Buddha's wisdom and compassion. Depending on what day, we usually chant Jusei Ge, but during special services we chant different things. But all of the various sutras that we chant, no matter what they are expressing in different ways Amida's vow to embrace and guide each of us through wisdom and compassion. And so when we chant together, this is one of the ways that we all receive the heart of the Buddha and help Buddha's wish to be heard by others. Because we are both receiving and sharing, we are encouraged to chant loudly, clearly, and joyfully. I have to admit that when I was younger, I hated chanting. When I was going to Dharma school, Dharma kids, nobody else around me, none of my other friends were chanting. And so I didn't want to be the only one out of the kids all chanting. That was embarrassing. And when I got older and my friends asked me, what do I do at temple? And I say, oh, we chant. And they said, oh, well, why do you chant? What does it mean? I don't know. I just show up and I chant. I had no idea. So I didn't like to chant and I didn't like talking about it. But as I got older and I started to learn about what it was we were chanting and why, I had started to slowly develop a new appreciation towards chanting. Something that also changed my feelings towards chanting was when I started meeting people from different parts of the world, not just our country, but different parts of the world, who were chanting the same chants that we do. So I learned that not only do people in other Jodo Shinshu temples in our BCA network chant these sutras, but people in Hawaii, Canada, China, Japan, Nepal, Europe, South America, all over the world where people are practicing Jodo Shinshu, people are chanting the exact same words, no matter what language they natively speak. There was one time I went to a Vietnamese Pure Land gathering, and they were pronouncing some words in the sutra differently than I was used to hearing, but there was enough similarities that I knew that they were also chanting the same sutras that I learned to chant. They were also taking refuge in Amida Buddha. So of course, when we look in our chanting book, or we follow along on the screen, the sutras have Chinese characters with the Japanese hiragana alphabet on top. And we also have the Romanized or English letters, right, pronunciation of these foreign words. And I think I may have explained this before, but the Chinese characters are how our founder, Venerable Shinran, received Buddhist teaching. At his time, long time ago, over 800 years ago, Japanese people who were Buddhist monks, they were able to read the Chinese characters, but they read them with a Japanese accent or Japanese pronunciation, and they learned how to read it with Japanese grammar, because Japanese grammar and Chinese grammar are different. But so when we read this, we might think, oh, so I have to learn to read and speak Chinese to chant? But that's not true, because native Chinese speakers will not be familiar with the sounds that we are chanting, because we're pronouncing them differently. And then we might think, oh, so do I have to read and speak Japanese to be able to chant? That's not true either, because even though the sounds are Japanese, the grammar makes no sense to Japanese people. And so, of course, as native English speakers, we don't understand what is being chanted. And we might think, oh, can't we chant, make this comfortable for me? But the truth is that no matter all these people that are chanting in all different parts of the world, nobody understands what we're chanting. So if you think, oh, I speak English, I don't speak this foreign languages, I don't understand, don't worry. Nobody understands. Nobody understands. So why do we chant in a way that nobody understands? As I mentioned, through meeting other people in different parts of the world who speak different native languages, through these transcendent words of the sutras, right? It's a language that nobody owns. It's a language that doesn't belong to any particular group or culture. And so through these transcendent words and sounds, we can all come together and chant together, sharing the essence of Buddha's vow, no matter who we are. And we can receive it as we are, and as the wisdom and compassion is being shown to us without putting our own spin on it. So our ritual practice of chanting becomes a practice of putting aside our ego, our calculations, or even any disagreements and anxieties that we might have with others, and just receive and share the Dharma together. It is also a practice of being in unison with what we call in Buddhism the great assembly of all people. This means people of all walks of life come together to take refuge in the wisdom and compassion of Buddha. People come all together no matter where we might live, the color of our skin, or the language that we may natively speak. And equally as important as the main body of the chant, at the end, I think you've all noticed that we always chant the same line at the end. And that is called the chanting, the passage on sharing Buddha's virtues. So I'm going to make this interactive today. I would like everyone to pull out the purple book, if it's near you, and open to page, I think it's 100. You should see the words Ganishiku Doku Byodo Seisai. Or Galen, can you put that card on the screen? Did I get the page right? Okay, great. So I want us to all chant this passage together, loudly, as we normally chant, Ganishiku Doku, okay? And then I want us to all read together the English translation. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Ganishiku Doku Byodo Seisai Dohombo Daishin Oujo Anrako. Thank you, everybody. That was wonderful. So we just all read words that just sound like sounds, and we don't know, just sounds melodic. But let's read together the English meaning of this passage. Okay, together, 1, 2, 3. May this merit virtue be shared equally with all beings. May we together awaken the Bodhi mind and be born in the realm of serenity and joy. Namandao, namandao, namandao. Thank you, everybody. So, when we are chanting this passage in unison in particular, as part of the Great Assembly, we are putting it out into the world that we share in Amida Buddha's wish for all beings equally to awaken the heart, to aspire to overcome this suffering world, and direct their lives towards true serenity and joy. In other words, we are inviting all others to be part of this great assembly as well. So as we continue to come and chant together, I hope that we remember that it is a way for all people, lay, clergy, anybody in between or outside, to receive this heart of Buddha's vow equally. And just as we are all gathered together in our different costumes or non-costumes, even in our regular clothes, we're all different, right? Everybody is their own unique person. We can respect each other as people who have come together to have joy and celebrate Buddha's vow. And so when we come together and chant, it is a way for all people, no matter who we are, to join in this great assembly with all beings who take refuge in the Buddha Dharma. Not just people in this room, not just people joining us on Zoom, but people in other cities, other towns, other states, other countries. We are all joining together, and we are all part of the ultimate community of the Sangha. And so, in closing, with this understanding, I would like to encourage all of us, the next time we gather for Dharma service, either in this room or if you can join us on Zoom, we do our best to put aside our ego not worry whether we are chanting correctly or not, what our voice sounds like, whether we will be judged by others or not. Rather, let's do our best to chant loudly in unison, blurring the lines between me and other, and have the feeling of reverence and joy for receiving the Buddha's wisdom and compassion just as we are. And we can all have the wish that all beings are able to hear this wisdom and compassion so that we can all be in harmony in the great assembly together. And so lastly, I hope that those of you that could stay, we can all enjoy each other's company in the Halloween party with the same heart. As I mentioned, we are all here, but no matter what we have chosen to be today or whether we have chosen to come as ourselves, let us remember that when we come in front of Buddha, we don't have to dress up and pretend to be someone else, because Buddha embraces each of us just as we are and will never abandon any of us. Thank you very much for attending our Dharma service today and allowing me to share my appreciation of the Nembutsu teaching and chanting. Let us all continue to reflect on the meaning of Amida's vow and allow its wisdom and compassion to permeate our hearts and minds, serving as a foundation for our lives each and every day. I would now like to conclude finally by reading a letter by Master Renyo. What is taught in the tradition of Venerable Shinran is that the heart that entrusts in Buddha's vow is essential. For when we abandon various practices and wholeheartedly take refuge in Amida, our birth in the Pure Land is settled by the Buddha through inconceivable vow power. The state we thus attain is described as, with awakening to a single thought of entrusting, we join those who are in the stage of the truly settled. Recitation of the Nembutsu thereafter should be understood to be the Nembutsu as an expression of thankfulness for the Tathagata's benevolence for settling our birth in Nirvana. Humbly and respectfully. 承認一流のご関係の趣は真理のもって本当せられ候。そのゆえはもろもろの造業を投げ捨てて一心に皆に奇妙すれば不可思議の眼力として文の方より往生は事情せしめたもそのくらいを一年ぽっき入所上始終とも釈しその上の称名念べた如来我が往生を定めたまいし言法人の念仏と心めきなりあなかしこあなかしこナモアミダ仏ナマンダ仏ナマンダナマンダ仏ナマンダナマンダナマンダ仏ナマンダ
Thank you, Reverend Umezu, for your Dharma message this morning. I don't speak a lot of Japanese, but I'm glad to know that not everyone also understands the chanting either. So, thank you. Next, we will have, we'll recite together the Rogemon. So, thank you.
We rely upon Amida Buddha with our whole heart for the enlightenment in the life to come, abstaining from all sundry practices and teachings, and giving up the trust in our imperfect view. There is no doubt that the assurance of enlightenment comes at the very moment we entrust and we recite the Nembutsu, Namo Amida Butsu, in joy and gratitude for the Buddha's compassion. We also acknowledge gratefully the benign benevolence of our founder and succeeding masters who have led us to live in this profound teaching and we do now endeavor to follow throughout our lives the way laid down for us. 両下出言もろもろの造業雑種自力の心を振り捨てて一心に阿弥陀如来我らが今度の一大事の御所御助け将来と頼み申して候頼む一年の時往生一条御助け事情と存じこの上の称名はご恩報者と存じ喜び申し候この恩断り弔問申し訳候ことご解散承認ご出世のご恩次第相乗の前時式の朝からざるご関係のご恩とありがたく存じ候この上は定めおかせられる恩をきて一語限り守り申すべく候ナモアミダ仏ナマンダツナマンダナマンダツナマンダナマンダツナマンダナマンダツナマンダナマンダ
And now for announcements. Connie will be back next week, so we'll have. I don't really have all the announcements on the screen, but we'll get that up for you next week. But as Reverend Umezu mentioned, right after service, everyone is invited to join us in the Kaikon for some lunch and games and prizes and fun, all around fun for the little ones for Halloween. So I'm glad to see so many people dressed up today, and we'll have a good time. So next week, there's a Tri-Temple seminar that we're having here at West LA, and that's on Saturday, November 2nd. It starts at 1 p.m., and the guest speaker for that is our resident minister, Koho Takata. The following week is our A Taikyo seminar, Where Did My Loved One Go After Death? And that's on November 9th at 10 a.m. Our guest speaker for that is Reverend Kyunobu Kurahara, who's been here a bunch of times before, and he's the resident minister at Berkeley Buddhist Temple. And he'll also be our guest speaker for our Eitaikyo Memorial Service the day after that on Sunday, November 10th at 10 a.m. And now I do have images on the screen here. So our monthly Shoshinge chanting services led by Reverend Umezu. The next one is on November 9th, and this one will start at 9 a.m. And it's not the 11 a.m., so this one starts a little earlier. Next is Buddhism Beyond Mindfulness. The next one is also on November 9th, and that's at 1 p.m., and that's also led by Reverend Umezu. And the suggested donation is $5. The next Dharma Kids session is on November 3rd, and that will take place during service. That starts at 10 a.m. And I think the next card actually is the Halloween party that we just talked about. So come join us again, right across the way here. Bingo at the temple, 7 p.m. every third Friday. There's lots of snacks. The parking lot's open, and the bigger the cash prize, the more people that show up, the bigger the cash prize. So come join us. T-shirts, as Connie mentioned, every week. They're available with our new temple logo on it. So here they are. They're available in V-neck and crew neck and in various sizes. So you can order that online, or you can come see Connie next week. We also have, for our 100th anniversary in 2026, we're going to start selling the hoppy coats, our West LA hoppy coats, with our logo as well on the back side, as well as the front side that says West Los Angeles Buddhist Temple. So here everyone always asks me to model it, so I'll Well, apparently I don't know how to put on clothes either, so there you go. There you go. Doesn't that look snazzy here? All right, and that's all the announcements I have actually for today. So after this, again, we'll see you guys next door. So, Sensei?
Please join me in closing Gasho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda, 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 Namanda. Before we head over, I'd like us to all say words of gratitude for the meal we will be receiving. We are truly grateful for this opportunity to share in this wonderful meal, thanks to the many people and living beings that surround us who make this occasion possible. We will receive this meal with humbleness and deep gratitude. Itadakimasu. Thank you, everybody. Yes, so please head over to the social hall, and the kids will have a parade now. And yeah, please offer incense if you wish to do so.